What is up, guys? It is Thrill Source, and today I'm going to be giving my full thoughts and review of Steel Vengeance, the absolutely massive RMC hybrid roller coaster at Cedar Point. This coaster is just a machine. This roller coaster has the most airtime out of any roller coaster on the planet, and I can definitely tell. And I hate to spoil things so early, but this is actually my favorite roller coaster I've ever ridden. I don't know about everyone else on the team, but from what I've ridden, this is my favorite roller coaster that I have experienced. This thing just has a colossal amount of ejector airtime. It is so powerful and it is so great. And honestly, we'll talk about pacing issues at the end, but I personally don't see them as a problem. So let's begin with the full experience. So you're going to walk up to your station Plaza and everything looks great. Like the sign looks great. You can see the coaster right there. And I really love how they tied the theming into Maverick. I think that was pretty cool. And then the queue itself doesn't have a whole lot of theming. I mean, in terms of Cedar Fair, it really has good like scenery, I guess, but it's not really like a story or like a theme behind it, I guess, really. I mean, there is a story, but if you haven't like watched any like the announcement videos or anything like that, I don't think you'd be able to tell what the theme even is. So then you're going to come into the station, pull down your RMC lap bar, and I think it's a little bit bulky and a little bit heavy in my opinion, and I don't really like the ankle things. I don't even know what they're called, but with that being said, I don't think the restraints are too much of an issue for this ride, because if you've ridden RMCs, you know what to expect, so I don't really think they're that huge of an issue. So then you're going to pull out of your station, and you're going to enter two bunny hills before hitting the lift hill. They don't really give crazy ejector airtime or anything. They just kind of like move your body around. I don't know, maybe some sort of like kiddie coaster-esque airtime, I don't really know. So you're going to be heading up quite possibly the loudest lift hill in the world. Like, this thing is so loud, it's really funny actually. And you get a great view of the park from this lift hill. I do enjoy this lift hill a lot. We actually got stuck on one of my rides. That was pretty interesting. So then you're going to head down this first drop. And this is one of the better first drops I've experienced. It's not my favorite, but it is still really, really good. It is the best in the park in my opinion. And I think this drop isn't really talked about a lot because it's so overshadowed by the rest of the ride. Like, the drop's great and all, but it's like probably one of the weakest moments on the ride. So then you're going to head through your ejector-esque speed hill sort of thing. It's alright. It's not really an outstanding moment on the ride, but it'll throw you out of your seat a little bit. So then you're going to come up into this massive top hat element, and this is where the craziness begins. You are just flying out of your seat. You're getting so much powerful and sustained ejector airtime. It is nuts. Then you're going to head into the outer banked airtime moment. And again, this thing is just so strong. You're getting like sideways airtime. It is absolutely brilliant how sustained and how strong this airtime moment is. So then you're going to come out of that, and then you're going to hit another airtime moment, which throws you out of your seat again. What a shocker. And you're going to go into your first inversion. I guess it's a 0G roll, but I don't really know. This thing is actually really, really whippy, and the thing that I like about it is that it's not just a full 360 roll. You do like your 360, but then you keep going. So like you go through this roll and you go sideways a little bit. I think that's really, really cool. Then you kind of head through the sideways airtime moment, and you're kind of just like going through this like higher up section. And then you hit the cutback, and this thing is just insanity. Now, people have said that there's RMCs with better stalls out there, and people said this is one of the weakest when it comes to RMC 0G stalls. Even though this isn't a true 0G stall, you can kind of compare it to them. And I've never really experienced anything else with a 0G stall, so I don't really know if I can compare that to them, but I think this element's great. So then you're going to come up into the most surprising moment on the entire ride, in my opinion. That is the, I guess, sort of the airtime hill or the double up before the mid-course brake run. And this thing is just so crazy. You're getting some of the most powerful ejector airtime, some of the most surprising ejector airtime. This thing kind of reminds me of El Toro's Rolling Thunder Hill. So when you're in the front row, it lasts for so long. It's kind of bizarre for how long this thing lasts. I feel like you're starting to like kind of curve up, and I feel like you're still getting airtime somehow. It's really weird, but this element's so surprising. It is great. And then you're going to come up to the mid-course brake run, and this is what's going to determine the rest of the ride, in my opinion. If you get a ride where the mid-course is hitting hard, you're going to have a pretty nice second half. It's going to be a really fun second half. But if you get a ride that's trimless or light trims, which I'd say it's about half and half, but as of right now, I guess they're trimming it hard for most of the time. But if you get a ride with like a trimless or a very light trim, you're in for an absolute bonkers second half. Drop out of the mid-course brake run, pure ejector air time, head into this double up. It's a fun element. It's nothing crazy, but it's powerful ejector air time, but it doesn't compare to the rest of the ride. So then after this double up, you're going to hit my favorite element of the entire ride. This is the off-axis airtime moment. This airtime moment is so strong. It is absolutely bizarre how strong this airtime moment is. If you've ridden El Toro and you know what the Rolling Thunder Hill is, I'd say this element is just as strong as El Toro's Rolling Thunder Hill. But then the thing is, this also has an off-axis vibe to it. So you're getting powerful ejector air time, and it's also off-axis. So like your body's just moving in like so many different directions. It is absolutely crazy. You don't know like which way you're gonna end up falling. It is just absolutely nuts. It is like one of the craziest feelings in the world. And then from here, like the rest of the layout's just crazy. It's just ejector air time, and there's an inversion thrown in, more ejector air time, then you hit a bank turn, more ejector air time, then you hit a wave turn at one point, and then you go through another inversion. And this part of the ride, honestly, is where some people claim to get disoriented. I didn't really feel the disorientation, really, but I didn't really memorize the rest of the layout because there's just so much happening at once. But it's just absolutely wicked. So much more kind of ejector-esque, sort of like more the RMC-esque airtime that people talk about, because a lot of these moments on this ride are actually very, very, very sustained. But during this section, it's not as sustained, I'd say. I would say that these elements don't last as long in terms of the length of the airtime. But anyways, you're going to keep going through the course, and then you're going to hit the grand finale, which is 5, but technically 6, including the hop up into the brake run. Finale, ejector bunny hills, and again, these hills are just so strong. They are so crazy. It kind of reminds me of Lightning Rod's quad down, except not quite as good in my opinion. And you're just going to fly through each and every one of these. You just get some of the most powerful ejector air time I've ever experienced. Then you're going to hop up into the mid-course brake run. And, you know, I don't think this ride quite has some of the strongest airtime I've experienced. It's definitely a top 3. But the fact that this ride has so much airtime, it is just, like, uncomprehendable how much airtime you're getting. Like, during that first half, you can take it all in. You have a lot of time to take everything in. And it's great because, like, you have airtime, and it's just like, wow, that was great. I want to experience it again. And then you go through another sustained moment. It's like, whoa. Then you go through, like, some surprise moments and, like, these sideways moments. It's just so much fun. And then you go through the second half, and you don't even know what the heck is happening because there's so much going on at once. It is absolutely wicked, so bizarre, and therefore it is my favorite roller coaster I have ever ridden. I mean, other than the restraints, which... Come on, if you complain about these restraints, you have to make the same complaint about every RMC restraint out there. And also, the mid-course brake run. That's the biggest thing about this ride. When the mid-course brake run's hitting really, really hard, I'd say this ride does have some pacing issues. You know, I wouldn't go as far as saying this ride has floater airtime, because that's a huge, huge exaggeration. I don't think there's a single moment of floater airtime on this ride. I mean, except maybe the drop, I don't know. But this coaster just is all pure ejector air time. I don't know, maybe some of those sideways moments give floater or whatever, but I don't see it. This coaster is just incredible. It is my number 1. It is one of the best roller coasters out there. And again, I just think the mid-course brake run is the big hitter for this ride. If you ride with the hard mid-course, you're going to be a little tiny bit let down if you're expecting, like, Storm Chaser or Twisted Timbers. But if you get a light mid-course, I can guarantee you're going to fall in love with this roller coaster just as much as I did. And for its final score, I'm going to be giving this ride a 10 out of 10. And this ride had so much hype. This ride had the most hype I've ever seen with the roller coaster. But this is one of the only rides I've ever seen that actually lives up to or even exceeds that hype that we were giving this thing. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like some more of our videos. Be sure to like this video, comment your thoughts on Steel Vengeance, and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace out.